CBS Sports presents the World Series, Game 2.
They've waited all season and for most a whole lifetime for this moment, the World Series. It's what every kid dreams about, even grown-up kids from the Deep South and the Upper Midwest. Each of them had little lumps in their throats and big butterflies in their stomachs. And for a crafty veteran, it was a chance to prove why there's no place like Dome. For his counterpart, it was another hard-luck postseason outing.
Knobloch gets a hit. 1-0 Minnesota.
As is so often the case, heroes emerge from unlikely quarters.
Pretty well hit. This ball is going to go. Did he hit it good enough? He certainly did.
The Twins came out flying, but will their slashing spikes cut past the Braves' stunning young guns? Starting tonight when Atlanta throws out their ace, looking to get even. It is just one of those beautiful, crisp October nights here in the Upper Midwest. You know what I'm talking about. A certain stillness that visits to announce that winter is right around the corner. But indoors, there is nothing still. There is nothing certain in this artificial environment where they control the lighting, the air, the humidity, everything, thankfully, but the game itself, that is left to the players. And the players who call this place home homered their way to a one-game lead last night. But folks, they don't call this the World Game. They call it the World Series. And tonight, we give you Game 2. It's the Atlanta Braves and the Minnesota Twins, live from the Metrodome here on CBS Sports. And hi again, everybody. Pat O'Brien here along with Dodgers manager Tom Lasorda. We welcome you to our coverage of the 88th World Series. Having a good time so far, Tommy?
Enjoying it immensely.
Tom, even though Minnesota dominated the opener, Game 2 is crucial now.
Ironically, Pat, it's crucial for both teams. Minnesota is saying to themselves, hey, we want to go into Atlanta 2-0 because we know one thing. We're going to have to face Avery, Schmaltz, and possibly Glavine. They know they're going to be without the services of the designated hitter. Chili Davis will not be in the lineup. Ortiz will probably catch some of the game, which will weaken their ball club offensively. On the other hand, Atlanta says, we've got no split, just as we did in Pittsburgh. Now, when they go home with the big three going for them, the pendulum swings the other way.
Missing Chili Davis, who had 29 home runs this season. The Braves are sending out their Cy Young candidate, Tom Glavine. Here he is arriving to face a team that led the major leagues in hitting against lefties. But, I mean, one of the remarkable facets there of Glavine's success is that he was the second most effective left-hander in the majors against right-handed hitting, but the Twins have had success against left-handers.
Without question, Pat, he is an outstanding pitcher because he is effective against left-handers as well as right-handers. He changes speeds as good as any young pitcher I have ever seen in the major leagues. He will be effective if he gets his changeup over.
Do you think he's a little overworked? He's pitched 260 innings this season.
I believe he's tired. I saw the first game against Pittsburgh. He started to get everything up. That is indication a pitcher is getting tired when you see his stuff start to go above the strike zone.
The Twins, Tommy, in Game 2, it's control artist Kevin Tapani, who was the Twins' best pitcher over the second half of the season. Tommy, you have a pretty good idea of what works against the Braves. 11-7 against that team.
Yeah, pretty good idea, Pat. Yes, they are a fastball hitting ball club. They hate breaking stuff. They hate changing speeds. The harder you throw it, the better they like it. So Tapani has to rely upon his split finger. If he gets that over, he could be effective.
The Braves have had their problems driving in runs in the postseason. Last night, they stranded 7 runners, and we asked them about this failure in the clutch.
You know, we haven't been swinging the bats like we have all year long. We did it for, I think, 1 game during the playoffs or 2 games during the playoffs. But I really couldn't tell you. If I could tell you, I'd have had it going the whole playoff series. If anybody could get a team just all of a sudden hitting, believe me, they'd make an awful lot of money in baseball with a lot of teams.
He's 4 for 29 in the postseason. You had some problems with Strawberry early. What do you say to a player who's not getting it done offensively?
Right now he's down. You got to put your arm around him. You got to say to him, hey, look what you've done. You were probably the MVP of the league. Look at all those big hits you got. Relax. We know you can hit, and you're going to do the job. It's just one game. Like you say, it's not the world game. It's the best of 7. They've got to win 4. This guy will hit before it's over.
Put your arm around his neck, huh? The Braves seem to adjust to the new environment with the noise and the Homer Hankies and the roof. This was the scene last night. We spoke to Ron Gant about his first adventure in the Metrodome.
This is probably the loudest place I've ever been in, baseball park-wise, and it makes it difficult to communicate out there. But we do have signals that myself and my outfielders do communicate with, and we're working it out. We didn't have any problems yesterday. We communicated well, but it definitely is louder, and I thought I needed earplugs last night.
The Twins are a loose bunch, folks. Rookie of the Year candidate Chuck Knobloch, who wrapped out 3 hits last night. Today he played some football, and we asked him to describe the mood of his team.
Maybe loose, relaxed, comfortable, confident. Any number of words can describe us. But, once the game gets going, everybody's serious and everybody knows what they're going to do.
He's a pretty happy guy out there, Tommy.
Why shouldn't he be happy? He got 3 hits in the first game of the Fall Classic. Show me a guy that isn't hitting that's happy. That's the guy I want to meet.
The man who keeps things loose is manager Tom Kelly. As a rookie skipper, he won it all in 1987, and now he's a game up as Jim Cott visited his office for a chat. And our man Kitty asked Kelly how he prepares hitters to face pitchers they've never seen.
The thing we're trying to do in getting our hitters ready to face the Brave pitchers is do some comparisons. We thought long and hard on who we're going to compare Glavine to in our league. We finally came up with Greg Swindell. He's got a good changeup, as you know. He live on the outside with the change, fastball in, and a breaking ball. And Greg Swindell is a pretty good pitcher. So again, that's who we're comparing him to tonight, and we're going to try to set our hitters up that if they were facing Greg Swindell.
Tom, it seems like we learn a lot of lessons about this game when we're kids, and sometimes we learn them from our dad.
Well, that's true. In a way, he used to holler, and when the ball started getting hit around a little bit, that maybe we better think about getting somebody out, getting a pitcher out there and getting somebody in the bullpen. When you start seeing the outfielders chase the ball around and that loud sound coming off the bat, you better think about getting somebody ready.
And you still use that same philosophy in making moves today? You used it in Toronto.
Yeah, for sure. And that was infamous Joe Carter at bat, and he blasted 2 balls off Erickson, and we decided to bring the lefty in, and which doesn't make sense. But again, you had to do what you had to do.
Father knows best. Last night we spoke about how baseball is a game to be savored by father and son. Well, Commissioner Fay Vincent was sitting with his daughter Ann last night, and in case you missed it, here's what happened. Ken Urbeck fouled off a pitch in the home 4th. The ball landed in the temporary stands, smack on the head of, the commissioner's daughter. We think this ball should have been caught. At any rate, it would have been out in a regular series game, but this is what Kent had to say.
Maybe they're going to take me out after the ball game and whoop me and beat me or what have you, but nothing was said, really. I guess nobody ever said anything to me after the game. I should go apologize or something, but I guess that's a part of the game. You have to read the board when the game starts, that we're not liable for the balls that we hit in the stands.
That was in the 6th inning. The important thing, though, is that we're happy to report that she's all right, but we don't know whether she bothered to read the fine print on the back of the tickets warning that spectators must attend the game at their own risk. And under the terms spelled out, the bearer cannot hold the commissioner liable for injury. It says so right here on this, Tommy. I think that happened to you one time.
Absolutely. I can attest to how she feels. I remember playing in Buffalo, and a guy hit a high pop foul at the dugout. I went up to try to protect the catcher from falling in. The ball hit me right in the top of the head and bounced. And the manager said, "Did you see that ball hit that dugout and bounce 40 feet in the air?" Roebuck said, "The dugout?" He said, "It hit Tom right in the middle of the head." And there I was counting 1,000 stars.
I don't see any big bump in there. They were playing America the Beautiful here while you're singing that, too. We'll be back with more from the Metrodome in a moment. as our coverage of the 1991 World Series rolls on from the Gopher State, and we'll go for it ourselves here on CBS. Stay with us.
You know, these Braves have superb starting pitching, and they like many innings out of their starters. They prefer them to get up through the 8th inning, bring in Alejandro Pena. But the big story thus far in postseason has been the work of the bullpen, all of the pitchers in the bullpen of the Minnesota Twins.
Jim Cott talked about how formidable the Atlanta Braves bullpen was and is, and certainly that's true. But think about the Minnesota Twins bullpen. They have worked 20 1/3 innings in postseason play and have not given up an earned run. And let's compare them with the starters of the Twins. You see, the starters with a 4.93 earned run average in 34 innings. So the bullpens logged almost as much as the relievers, or as the starters. The Atlanta Braves, on the other hand, because they clinched early or late on Thursday, they had Charlie Leibrandt, their 4th starter, going last night. But look at the starters that the Minnesota Twins have to face from here on out. Tommy Glavine, Steve Avery, and then John Smoltz on Wednesday. So Tommy Glavine tonight, and that's a tough assignment for the Twins.
It certainly is. Let's get some of the pregame activities rolling. Turn things over to the PA announcer, Bob Casey.
Ladies and gentlemen, to honor America, we ask that you join country and western recording star Charlie Pride as he leads us in our national anthem.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we once were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets' red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
55,000 fans here at the Metrodome getting ready for Game 2. Kevin Tapani against Tommy Glavine. It's Game 2 of the 91 World Series, and moments ago, the president of the American League, Dr. Bobby Brown, had the privilege of throwing out the ceremonial first pitch. That on the heels of the national anthem sung by Charlie Pride. And the Twins have taken the field, as you can tell from the faithful here in the Twin Cities. Their pitcher is a 16-game winner of the regular season, 16-9. And 0-1 against Toronto in the American League Championship Series. Here's the batting order for the Braves. It's a little different than last evening. Lonnie Smith is the DH. Terry Pendleton at third. Ron Gand in center. David Justice in right. Sid Bream plays first base. Brian Hunter in left field. Greg Olson catching. Mark Lemke starts at second base. Rafael Belliard at short. Tommy Glavine, the pitcher for the Braves.
Defensively for the Minnesota Twins, Dan Gladden will be the left fielder. Kirby Puckett, everybody's favorite in center field, very popular player here in the Twin Cities. Shane Mack will be the right fielder. Scott Leas at third base. Greg Gagne, the star of last night's game, he's the shortstop. Chuck Knobloch, a fine game last night, he's the second baseman. Ken Herbeck at first base. Brian Harper behind the plate, and Kevin Tapani on the mound. Tapani 7th in the American League in earned run average, a 16-9 record this year, an earned run average under 3, just barely under 3. The one big thing about Tapani, he limited left-handed batters to a .235 average this year, and that's superb. Pitched very, very well in the second half, 11-2 in the second half. After a poor first half that included an 0-6 May. He lost all 6 starts in the month of May.
And you might as well go up swinging against him because he doesn't walk many. Here are the umpires. Harry Wendelstedt of the National League has the plate. Drew Coble of the American League. Terry Tata at second. Rick Reed at third. Ed Montague in the left field area. And Don Denkinger is the right field foul line umpire. Tapani averaged 1.5 walks per 9 innings, so that's a rather stingy pitcher. Greg Gagne at shortstop, he made the score 4-0 with a 3-run home run. And here's Kent Herbeck, and he blasted one 440 feet. You know, Tim, we've been paying a lot of attention to this Atlanta pitching, and rightfully so. And as we've been doing that, they've stopped hitting.
Yeah, they really have. They've played 6 games, make that 8 games in postseason play. And in only one game, that 10-3 game, game 3 of the playoffs, did they score a lot of runs.
Ball 1 to Lonnie Smith, and we're underway. Lonnie took the collar last night, 0 for 3 with a walk. And he hits one foul off to the right and shattered the bat. It's a ball and a strike. It's going to be Smith, Pendleton, and Gant.
We talked about Kevin Tapani. Look at his record to the right there. 5-7 in the first half. 11-2 in the second half. Tommy Glavine, who's working for the Braves, just the opposite. He had a strong first half, but only 8-7 in the second half, and he's 0-2 in postseason play, even though he's pitched fairly well.
Close-up look at Glavine, who's waiting for the home half of this first inning. And Lonnie has a 1-1 count as he leads it off. High in the air to right field, chased by Shane Mack, and it is foul and out of play. A gallant try, 1 ball, 2 strikes. And the fans appreciate the effort.
Because of the dimensions here at the Metrodome, as you see the effort by Shane Mack, one of the best athletes on the Twins team. But because of the dimensions, it's 327 down the right field line, 343 down the left field line, and because of that, Shane Mack plays more into right center. So the Twins, because of that, had he been in a regular straightaway position, he would have had a shot at that foul ball.
There are the dimensions here, and a pitch low to Lonnie Smith. Let's take another look. 343 and left, power alley, dead center, right center. And the curtain out in right field, 23 feet high. A full count on Lonnie Smith. There's that curtain. An easy target for left-handed hitters. Smith swings, hits it into left field for Gladden, and he makes the catch. That's the way this one starts. For Atlanta, Jim Williams coaches at third base, and a former big league manager. Coaching at first, it's Pat Corrales.
Pat Corrales, 0 for 1 in World Series play. He made the last out of the 1970 World Series with the Cincinnati Reds.
And he gets another shot at it here as one of the members of the staff of Bobby Cox. Ball 1 to Terry Pendleton. Terry 0 for 4 last night. Only 5 hits in the 7 games against Pittsburgh after leading the league in hitting at .319. Look at his average in postseason. 1 for 8 with runners in scoring position. Really smashed a ball last night, but hit into a key double play. That was in the 8th inning. Two balls and a strike. That particular pitch there is what typified Pendleton's year, where he was very selective. Last year, he was swinging at everything. To the strike, 2-2. Mr. Tapani can pop the ball. So a hard thrower last night in Jack Morris, and another in this right-hander. The Twins pitching is right-handed. The Atlanta pitching left-handed. And the first 2 have been retired, and the woes for Pendleton continue.
Tapani throws the fastball to run away from the left-handed batters. That ball really going down out of the strike zone, and Pendleton swings under the low fastball. That's unusual. Usually you'll see a hitter swing on top of that pitch that's going down.
That's what they call a sinker, isn't it? Away from that left-handed batter. And it was a good one. Here's Ron Gant. Things didn't bother him last night. He had 3 base hits. And he pops it foul back and out of play, although Brian Harper had trouble locating the ball. Terry Pendleton is now 0 for 5. And when you're in a slump, Tim, you always find yourself up there with a 2-strike count, don't you?
You always find yourself hitting against good pitchers, and I think that's what all 4 teams, the Blue Jays and Pirates included, have found themselves in this postseason play. Strong pitching throughout.
And strike 1 to Gant. Strike 2, caught the corner according to Harry Wendelstedt.
This is the area that the Twins are trying to pitch Ron Gant. I'd like to qualify that. That's the area that everybody tries to pitch everybody. If pitchers made pitches like that, hitters would be out of business if they made them consistently. Fork ball here.
And Gant hits it to third, and Elias goes low, but Herbeck digs it out. Down in order, Atlanta. 1/2 inning, and no score.
You've heard of the fork in the road? Well, this is the fork in the ball, and that is the pitch on which Kevin Tapani retired Ron Gant. That has been his meal ticket this year, too.
There's Tommy Glavine, who's going to do the pitching for the Braves tonight. And here's the lineup presented by the Twins. Dan Gladden left. Chuck Knobloch at second base, and Kirby Puckett in center. Billy Davis is the DH, and Brian Harper behind the plate. Shane Mack in right. Kent Herbeck at first base. Scott Leyes at third. Greg Gagne at short, and you just saw Tapani.
Defensively for the Braves, Brian Hunter will be the left fielder once again this evening. Ron Gant in center field. David Justice in right. Terry Pendleton at third base. Rafael Belliard at short. Mark Lemke is the only change for the Braves this evening, as Sid Breams at first, and behind the plate, Greg Olson.
A 20-game winner on the mound for Atlanta. And the likely Cy Young Award winner pitching to Dan Gladden. 0 for 2 last night with 2 walks. Pops it up on the first one. Lemke going out, struggling to find it. Here comes the right fielder. It drops!
We talked about the roof before this series began, but I do not believe either player had a problem with the roof. I think this is just plain miscommunication. That is David Justice's ball all the way. When an infielder goes out, he's supposed to put his hand up if he has the ball zeroed in. But David Justice coming in on the play should have called him off. And you can't use the excuse that the crowd was too noisy, because at the time the play was made, there was no crowd noise.
An error charge to the right fielder. Showing a bunt with Knobloch. And a tough pitch for Greg Olson to hand it well. Atlanta Braves, welcome to the Metrodome. The Metrodome. It was inevitable something of that sort was going to happen.
Nice play by Greg Olson. Well, that's true, Jack, but I don't believe that play, that you can use the excuse for the roof, because I thought both players had it locked in. And I think they just, there was miscommunication on the play. And whenever the ball has that much hang time, it is always the outfielder's responsibility to call the infielder off the play.
And we saw in our pictures that neither fielder ever took his eyes off the ball.
That's right.
So a runner at second and nobody out. Ball 2 to Knobloch. This fella had 3 hits last night, 2 stolen bases. The probable rookie of the year in the American League. Error charge to Justice. On the ball hit by Gladden. Ball 3. There's Tom Kelly, the skipper of the Twins. Across the way, looking for his first win in the series, is Bobby Cox. He and his squad will be at home Tuesday night at Fulton County Stadium. Three and 1. Gladden hasn't pitched since the Monday daylight game down in Atlanta, so he's had ample rest.
That was the game that the Pirates won, Game 5 of the NLCS. The Pirates won it 1-0.
Three and 2. Glavine was the loser in the first game, 5-1 Pittsburgh. Then the 1-0 game. Number 3 hitter is Kirby Puckett. His manager, Tom Kelly, said, well, Kirby didn't do anything last night, neither did Chile. But I have a feeling those two are going to be heard from this evening. 3-0 and now 3-2. Two on and nobody out. An error and a walk. And Knobloch's at-bats are perfect. And they gather at the mound to talk it over. And Glavine, of course, didn't win 20 games by accident, so don't be too sure the Twins are going to cash in on this situation. Glavine is perfectly capable of getting out of it. But in his way is Kirby Puckett. 0 for 4 last night. Glavine gets ahead.
Kirby Puckett and Chili Davis 0 for 7 between them last night. Ken Hrbek picked them up. Of course, Herbie's hitting 7th against the left-hander. But those are the power hitters on the Twins team.
1 ball, 1 strike.
Kirby Puckett, a .406 hitter against left-handers this year, and the one thing that Glavine has going for him in a situation like this, Puckett led all major leaguers in hitting into double play ball 27 times.
And that's a lot.
And Glavine throws a lot of sinkers and a lot of ground balls. He hopes it's at somebody.
Runners are going. And a ground ball to Pendleton. Steps on third, bounces it to first, 2 out. Pendleton ran right into the play, covering because Gladden was running.
And if you asked Tommy Glavine about a double play ball, he might have said yes, but not in this fashion. Runners running. Puckett breaks the bat. And Pendleton, for the time being, breaks the backs of the Twins.
So a little luck in favor of the Braves, and a runner at second, 2 out.
I don't think that ball would have been hit hard enough to get by Pendleton, but I don't think they would have turned to double play had the runners not been running.
Now it's up to Davis, who was 0 for 3 last night. And a strike to Chile.
You've heard that old baseball expression, keep your eye on the ball. In this situation, keep your eye on the bat. Look at that bat landing right where Dan Gladden was running.
And Pendleton bounced it over there by design. He had that long throw and took advantage of the turf. Chili Davis launches one. 2-0, Minnesota.
That looked like a slider down and in to Davis, but not for long.
And now it's Brian Harper, the catcher. 3 home runs in the series already for the Twins. And a tip of the helmet to the crowd. Well, the double play helped for Atlanta. They needed a triple play, as it turned out.
Oh, that really breaks the backs of the Braves temporarily with this 2-run shot right here after Glavine surely thought he was out of it.
Ball 3. So the error and a walk and a home run.
A lot of back-breaking this inning.
I'll say. Harper had 2 hits last night. Now he walks. And there's no other way to describe it. Tom Glavine is having a tough postseason.
Well, the scene was set with that first play. The error on David Justice. Lemke and Justice combining for the error. But the error was given to David Justice, the right fielder, and that looked like it totally rattled Glavine. He did get the double play ball. That was the ball hit by Kirby Puckett. But then the Chili Davis home run righted the Twin ship.
Harper at first, 2 out. Leo Mazzoni went to the mound. Chili Davis did his work. He won't be in the lineup because they won't use the DH starting Tuesday night in Atlanta. Well, Tom Kelly was right, wasn't he, Tim? He said, I didn't get anything last night from Puckett or Davis, so I'm looking for something this evening.
1 out of 2 tonight. Puckett with the double play ball, but Davis with the 2-run homer.
Sid Bream holds against Harper, who's not a stolen base threat, really. And Shane Mack is up there. 0 for 4 last night. On the corner. bit of everything here in the first. Couple of walks. 2-run homer. Double play. Error. After the Braves went down in order. Back up the middle. Good play by Lemke and a force out. One swing did all the damage in the Minnesota first. 2 runs, 1 hit, 1 error, 1 left. 2-0 Minnesota. 2-0 Twins after 1. We are experiencing some technical problems, but we're all set. We apologize for that. 2-0 Twins after 1. Ordinarily, a couple of runs would not be a problem for these Braves, but they're in a hitting slump, and it's compounded by the presence of Kevin Tampany. David Justice leads it off. Had a hit last night and gets one tonight. Shane Mack holds him to 1 base. I said earlier, Tim, you might as well go up swinging against Kevin because he's in the strike zone.
Only 40 walks on the year, about a walk and a half per 9 innings. That was 4th in the majors. The leader in that category, Zane Smith of the Pirates. Dave Justice 1 for 2 last night, so he's 2 for 3 with a couple of walks. He's been on base 4 times.
And this is Sid Bream. He was 0 for 4 last night. And took a call 3rd strike in the 6th with a couple of men on. Strike to him. Justice stole 9 bases during the season. Bream hits one fair past 3rd. How far can the runners go? It'll be a double. 2nd and 3rd, nobody out. Those are the tying runs. A little cue shot. Double for Bream.
It's an appropriate spot to say that Minnesota Fats couldn't have done it any better. Watch this little cute thing down the 3rd baseline, and it might be the thing to get the Atlanta Braves going.
They had a little luck earlier in the last half inning on the double play, and a good break there, and the batter is Hunter. Ryan skies it into right field, and that'll get a run home, and both runners tag. It's 2-1, and I'm surprised that Sid Bream, of course he has that bad knee, didn't try to move up a bit.
Yeah, but he's almost apologizing to 3rd base coach Jimmy Williams. You're really on your own in a situation like that, and you go with direction. If the throw goes home, you go. Actually, the throw should have gone to 3rd base, but if the throw goes home, you go to 3rd. In other words, if the throw doesn't go to 3rd, you do. And that was a mistake by Sid Bream.
Mistake by Bream and a mistake by Mack, the right fielder. And we'll see what comes of that.
Mack got away with it. Bream didn't.
Greg Olson, the batter. Now they're going to make an appeal play at 3rd base. And the 3rd base umpire says that the runner, Justice, did not leave too soon. That was Rick Reed making the call. So that's the first out of the inning. And Olson 1 for 3 last night. He's at the plate. Justice seats himself with a smile. Ball 1 to Gregg. He lives not too far from here. And the runner at 2nd base, Sid Bream.
Almost see the disgust on Sid Bream's face immediately after, looking to Jimmy Williams, the 3rd base coach, and saying, hey, made a mistake.
Two and 1. Wilson almost went for it, and it goes to 3-1. Some Atlanta fans are here in the Metrodome. To the shortstop, Gagne. 2 out. Well, I wonder where the infield would have been playing if Bream had been at third base 1 out.
Well, we'll never know because he wasn't there. And that's why it was important for him to go there, because in the early innings, usually the manager will play his infield back. So Bream remains at second, but the second out. But the infield could have been back in that situation, and it could be a tie game had Bream gone to third on the fly ball to right.
So it's up to Lemke, the switch hitter. Strike 1 from Kevin Tappan. No at-bats for Lemke last night. His club trailing 2-1 here in the second. Strike 2.
You saw the fork ball earlier to Ron Gant. Now Gant, of course, a right-handed batter. And to left-handed batters, Tapani uses the circle change. And that was the changeup that went away from Lemke. So 2 types of off-speed pitches depending on the hitters, whether they're right-handed, fork ball, left-handed, circle change.
Tapani almost out of the inning. Caught the corner, gets his second strikeout. 1 run, 2 hits, 1 left for Atlanta. They trail 2-1.
Game 2 of the World Series. Minnesota winning last night. They're ahead in this game, 2-1 in the bottom of the second. A base running mistake by Sid Bream, almost admitting to Jimmy Williams, the third base coach, that it was his fault. Nothing more to do but turn the page.
And go into the bottom of the second. First up, Kent Hrbek. Ball 1 from Glavine. Glavine gave up 2 hits and a home run in the first inning. Fortunately for Atlanta, a double play got in the way of the Twins' rally. Ball 2 off the glove of Olson, who was shocked that he didn't catch it. Hrbek had a double and a home run last night. Hrbek, Leyes, and Gagne. Three and 1. You know, the run just scored by Atlanta is the first that the Braves have scored in the 3 postseason games for Glavine while he was still in the game. And the third walk from Tom Glavine. That's unusual for him. Leadoff walk to the left-handed batter.
And remember, when the first batter gets on base, he will score about 50% of the time. If he gets on base with 1 out, the odds are cut down considerably to 16%.
Scott Leyes had a hit last evening, 1 for 2. Ball 1, and Glavine having difficulty throwing strikes. This Minnesota batter barely made the ball club this spring. He made the club because Mike Pagliarulo was in a slump at the time. And Tom Kelly kept Leyes around. Ball 2.
And Tom telling us before the game that the loss of Gary Gaetti to the California Angels has been more than made up for with the combination of Pagliarulo, the left-handed batter, and Leyes, the right-handed batter. Of course, you have to use two players for one guy that you lost. Gary Gaetti, a favorite of the Minnesota fans here for a long, long time, who hit the first home run in the Metrodome back in 1982.
Hrbek not going, and there's a strike. I was thinking that was a perfect time to hit and run because you knew Glavine was going to throw a strike, but try to get Hrbek moving around the bases. That they don't run as much in the American League as they do in the National, because in this case they'd be doing some running because the pitcher would be coming up next. Not in the American League. 2 balls and a strike. Now it's 3-1. Here's Jim Kaat.
Well, Jack and Tim, from down here, it looks like, and I've gone through this myself, Tommy Glavine has what I'd call scouting report-itis. Hasn't faced this team before. Instead of pitching to his strength, it appears he's trying to be so careful to pitch to the Twins hitters' weaknesses, he's not getting anything in the strike zone consistently.
He's already walked 3, and he's behind on the count, 3-1 here. Double play ball. They get 1, and that's the second Atlanta double play of the evening. And that's what comes when you don't start that runner.
Quick reactions from an old hockey player. 4th-round draft choice of the Los Angeles Kings back in 1984. Quick reactions right there, and Lemke covering the second double play in 2 innings for the Braves.
Tim, you could tell from watching that he knew who was covering. He didn't forget who was covering.
You better know it. You better not forget. That's the easiest part of it, not forgetting who's covering.
Gagne is up, and ball 1 to him. Gagne had a big night last night, 1 for 3, a 3-run homer. Had 4 hits against Toronto. 1-1. Twins there in the second. We've had a lot of action. One and two.
Talked about Gagne's home run last night, a 3-run shot against Charlie Leibrandt, and I'm sure Greg Gagne can't look at it enough.
Pretty well hit. There was a scene last night. Here's a chance for Belliard. A leadoff walk, but the Twins do not score, and after 2-1 Minnesota.
All right, the communication is important in the Metrodome, and Jimmy Williams, the Atlanta third base coach, had a little session with the Atlanta infielders between innings. I doubt this had anything to do with pop-ups in the dome, but I think it had something to do with maybe positioning the infield against the Twins hitters.
Okay, Jim, here is Belliard taking ball 1. We're underway in the third. 2-1 with the Twins on top. Belliard was 0 for 3 last night. To the second baseman, Knobloch. We've already had some action in the first 2 innings of this one as Atlanta attempts to get even in the series. Tapani has struck out 2, walked none, allowed 2 hits. Lonnie Smith is up for the second time. Fly to left to start this game. Tapani has most of the time been ahead on the count, as he is now. One ball, 1 strike.
Kitty talking about Tommy Glavine trying to be too fine early in the count. That's the biggest pitch in any situation, strike 1. You can talk about the breaking balls behind in the count and throwing strikes ahead in the count, crowding guys and moving the ball around. But strike one is the biggest pitch in any count.
Off the glove of Elias. Probably an error, and Lonnie Smith runs the bases with one out. It is an error.
Well, this is just a big league error. The AstroTurf here at the Dome has a lot of spring in it, and that ball looking like it just sprang right over the glove of Scott Elias.
I don't think he had time to get in front of that ball. He's trying to play it off to the side, and it zipped on by him, and Lonnie Smith runs the bases with one out. And trying to get off the Snyder in the series is Terry Pendleton. 0 for 5. Struck out his first time. Herbeck holding against the runner. Each team an error. And Smith a threat to run. Ball one to the Atlanta third baseman.
Now Pendleton ahead in the count, so the hit and run more likely. That's because the pitch out is more unlikely. I think that's what the Braves need to do. They need a little more animation in their offense. They need to send more runners, especially with a control pitcher like Tappan.
And ball two. Was that a pitch out or not?
No. No, that looked like just a breaking ball that got away from Tappan. Tappan coming over to the Twins in the 4-for-1 deal back in 1989. Frank Viola going to the Mets. Tim Drummond, Kevin Tappan, David West, and Rick Aguilera coming to the Twins, and 3 of those 4 players still on their roster. And there it is right there.
One on, one out. And to center field for Puckett. Camps under it. 2 out. Well, whenever you come to Minnesota, you think of a former great Twins player, Bob Allison, 61 to 70, and he is under the weather, and we hope that he's tuned in because we enjoy saluting him this evening. He was the Rookie of the Year in 1969 when he played for the Washington Ball Club. A wonderful fella. He and Killebrew with a 1-2 punch, along with the others on that ball club like Tony Oliva. Bob Allison had 256 home runs, and we hope that he's comfortable as we're saying hi to him this evening. That was close.
Thing is, you can run on Tappan. 24 stolen bases in 27 attempts. Lonnie Smith diving back and almost too late. Look how Herbeck drops that knee down and makes a quick tag. Boy, he's got quick hands for a big man.
Gant is the batter. Ball one. Ron Gant had 3 hits last night. Tying run at first, 2 out here in the third. There's a strike.
And again, even after the bluff, a dormant Lonnie Smith at first base. 5 pitches and he's yet to run. The combination of Harper, who has an average arm at best, and Tappan in the move he has the first. You've got to run on him if you expect to capitalize. The Braves need a more animated offense. Smith back.
And there with 2 out.
Oh, what a great view that was.
Tom Kelly, the Twins manager, telling us about Kent Herbeck. And he thinks that Herbeck is the best defensive first baseman he has ever seen. It covers a lot of ground, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Smith is going. And a hit to left by Gant. And Lonnie's trying. They're going to get him perhaps. He's safe. And now Gant gets back to first, and he's out.
I don't know, Jack. It looked like Herbeck pulled him off the bag. I think the Braves have a legitimate complaint right here. Ken Herbeck makes the tag, and watch the momentum of Herbeck pull Gant off the bag. He pulls him off the bag. I think that's a bad call right there.
I'll throw in with you on that. Well, we'll take another look at it. As we go along here, we'll complete this picture, and they finally get Gant away from the argument. There's Gant, there's Herbeck. And we'll return to the Hubert H. Humphrey Metrodome after this message and a word from your local station. We're into the bottom of the third. The Twins leading 2-1. We're going to follow up on that controversial call at first base. We have the presence of Rich Garcia, the American League umpire, up here in the booth. And you get expert commentary from him. Here's Gladden leading off in the third. And Gladden's first pitch is ball one.
And we are with Richie. Richie, what do you think about that play?
Well, it's really a judgment play on umpire Drew Cobol's part. Here's a situation where the runner has to have complete control of that base. And if he does have complete control of the base, you have to give the runner the benefit of the doubt. He cannot be pushed off.
So the question is whether he had complete control.
Absolutely.
I mean, don't you think that shot showed that he had complete control?
Well, his right foot that was on the bag was, his left foot gets on there first, then he puts his right foot on there, and you see that he doesn't have the angle that we have, really doesn't have the fact that he has complete, his body movement on the top is still moving. Whether Herbeck pushed him off or not from up here, we really can't tell. That's going to be up to the umpire's judgment to make that kind of call.
And Gladden strikes out to start the third. And that is the very first strikeout for Tommy Glavine. Tom Lasorda is still with us. Tom, what do you think about that play at first base?
Beg pardon?
What do you think about that call at first base?
Well, I thought the guy deliberately pulled the guy's foot off the base. He didn't push it off. He pulled it or just lifted his foot right off the base. The guy was on the base. The umpire must have had a bad look at it, because the look that we saw on television, he deliberately got his foot off that base.
Knobloch hits one to Lemke. And that's the second out here in the home third.
That's the way I saw it. I don't think there was any pushing. I think there was pulling. I believe that Ron Gant had control of the bag, and that Ken Herbeck, I mean, if you're Herbeck, that's exactly what you do. Otherwise, the Atlanta Braves have runners at first and third and 2 out.
Nice effort by Herbeck. I bet he was surprised when he got the call. He's big enough to lift you off the base, isn't he?
Well, he's an ex-wrestling fan. I mean, I think this might be a wrestling move right here. Big wrestling fan was Ken Herbeck, but it looked to me that he deliberately pulled him off the bag, and if you can get away with it, do it, and that's what he did.
Puckett, a strike.
Here it is again. Well, it looked to me, the left hand right there, and that's that left arm right there, and it looked like he was pulling Ron Gant off the bag. I don't think there's any question about it from my view.
And now strike 2 to Puckett, and it appears that the Atlanta pitcher, Tom Glavine, has hit his stride here in the third inning. He looks much more comfortable. Out of play. Still 0-2. Well, we've had a little bit of everything in this one. And we're only in the third. 2-1 Twins. would have been first and third, 2 out, and David Justice up there with a big call.
Sure was.
2-2.
Well, we'll be looking at this, I think, some more. This play by Ken Herbeck pulling Ron Gant off the bag. Did he have control of the bag? It looked like it.
And a strikeout is the second in the game for the Atlanta Hurler, has retired 5 in a row. Now we played 3, 2-1 Twins.
You are watching the World Series on CBS.
2-1 Minnesota go to the top of the fourth. What Ken Herbeck did is he read Ron Gant's resistance. Richie Garcia referred to, did Gant have control of the bag? Right there, see, if you're Herbeck, you feel the fact that Gant is beginning to come off the bag. And like any first baseman tries to do, you take advantage of it and lift him off the bag, as he did, and got the benefit of that call.
At the end of the inning, watch this, another display. He punted the ball. There wasn't no ball, but he kicked it anyhow. Ron Gant upset about the call. I know some of you folks like to keep score. That put out went 7-1-3 umpire.
7-1-3-U.
We're into the fourth inning, and Justice leads it off. He singled and scored in the second. 1 ball, 1 strike from Kevin Tapani. Big swing, 1-2. Atlanta has 3 hits. Twins have made an error. And the Braves did not cash in on the error. No walks from Tapani, and that's typical of him. Into left for Gladden. Easy, 1 out. Every time you look up, Tim, Tapani is ahead on the count.
Strike 1, strike 1.
Here's Sid Bream. He got that double pass third base in the second inning, his first hit in the series, 1 for 5. You see the brace that he wears on his right knee. And a strike. There we go again.
When you're around the plate as much as Tapani, you do run the risk of being wild in the strike zone. And he did give up 23 home runs this year, but 18 with nobody on.
1-1.
There are a lot of pitchers who give up a lot of home runs, but it's that walk that comes before the home run that ends up hurting them. Tapani with only 18 solo homers against him this year.
That ball chased by 2 people and caught by Gladden. That was a heck of a play. There was a fair ball, and they're 2 out.
Dan Gladden had to play Sid Bream deep to left field because Bream has power that way. And watch him make the catch and topple over on that right knee. Fine play by Dan Gladden.
A tough customer. We saw that at home plate last night. 2 outs and the batter, Brian Hunter. Ball 1. Hunter drove in a run in the second with a sacrifice fly, and he is 0 for 4 in the series. To Leas. Down in order of the Braves. Bottom of the fourth coming up. Twins lead it by 1.
Rich Garcia talking about control of the bag. It seemed to me that he had control of the bag, and an umpire has taken a lot upon himself to say that a guy's momentum is going one way enough to where he can't maintain control. I still think Ken Herbeck pulled him off the bag.
Chili Davis hit the home run in the first with 2 out. He leads it off here. 1 for 5 in the series. 1 for 4. Glavine gets a hit on 2. Davis, Harper, and Mack. You know who she's rooting for?
Twin cheeks right there.
Here's the guy that caused all the trouble. Ken Herbeck.
Not for the Twins he didn't. He got him out of the inning.
One and 2. I heard you talk about Chili Davis, Tim. He's a good breaking ball hitter.
Yeah, he really is. That appeared to be what he hit the first time up. It could have been a little sailing fastball, but it appeared to be a breaking ball down and in.
2 and 2.
Any hitter can hit a ball down and in. Anybody. And if they couldn't, they'd make golf tees higher.
I still think they ought to. Chili Davis leading off in the 4th. Good play by Lemke. And a good throw for the out. 6 in a row by Tommy Glavine.
Looked like a circle change from Tommy Glavine. And a fine play by Mark Lemke. Watch Lemke, his momentum taking him over behind second base, and the big stretch by Sid Bream to get Chili Davis. Good play.
Brian Harper, that's going to go out of play. Harper drew a walk his first time. And had 2 hits last night. An error and a walk opened the gates in the first inning and preceded the Chili Davis homer. Pendleton with a long throw to make. On target, 2 outs, 7 in a row retired. Glavine certainly has settled down.
The right fielder, Shane Mack.
Trying to win his first postseason game after winning 20 during the regular campaign. 3rd in the league in ERA. With the bases empty, Shane Mack is up. Mack hit into a force out in the first inning. Out of play, strike 2.
Only Ken Griffey Jr. and Julio Franco hit higher in the second half than Shane Mack. Julio Franco, the first Texas Ranger to win a batting crown in the history of that franchise.
You're out, says Harry Wendelset. Second strikeout for Glavine. He has set down 8 in a row. We played 4 innings. It's 2-1 Twins. There's only one person I know who would tamper with that equipment, and that's the fellow we just saw on the screen. Greg Olson takes ball 1, and we're underway in the 5th, and it's gotten a little cooler, come to think of it, since Pat went down there. Olson grounded to short his first time. Had a hit last night. Hits it into the gap, and it is going to be a base hit. Olson will cruise into second base with a leadoff double. He had that one smack between the outfielders.
So Greg Olson with a double, his second hit of the series.
The second baseman, Mark Lemke.
At the artificial surface bounce. Olson, not a fast runner. I don't know about cruising. It's more like a crash landing at second.
And Puckett did a good job of holding into a double. Showing the bunt, taking a ball is Mark Lemke. Lemke a strikeout victim in the second. Olson just got the fourth Atlanta hit.
It'd be risky to bunt right here with Belliard on deck, unless you plan on pinch hitting for Belliard.
Well, he did pull the ball and move the runner over to third with one out.
That was just a decoy when he squared around to bunt. The Twins didn't bite, and they played their infield straight away. Swinging away. Hey, this situation's got squeeze written all over it, doesn't it?
Yeah. Harkins is back to the second inning in a game down in Atlanta. The infield comes in. Belliard is a very good bunter, and he's not a big RBI man. Grounded out his first time up. In game 5, the Braves tried a squeeze play that backfired.
Tommy Glavine was the batter with Brian Hunter on third base.
Tying run at third, one out. Ball one to Raphael. What's Bobby Cox thinking? Trying to get that tying run home. Braves have 4 hits. Minnesota has only 1. That one, a 2-run homer by Chili Davis. One ball, one strike.
That was a big pitch, a bad pitch away. Had he laid off of that ball, it'd have been 2 balls and no strikes. And then there was a lot that Bobby Cox could do with Belliard.
Third base coach talks to the runner in a squeeze situation after every pitch, and so you don't know if there is a play on. Tapani works from the stretch.
Slider here.
Now Belliard in the hole, 1 and 2.
See, that's a safe pitch in a squeeze situation. If you don't want to pitch out, and obviously Tom Kelly doesn't, he just goes with a slider, and that ball's going to be outside anyway. And by the way, Bobby Cox told us the other day that when Tommy Glavine missed that squeeze, and he did miss the sign, it was the first time in his managing career that that ever happened to him.
And it happened with 2 strikes, as we have now. 1 and 2 on Belliard. 2 and 2.
So if you're watching at home, 3 is the slider, the wiggle is the split finger fastball. See what Brian Harper flashes down here. He's thrown 3 sliders and a splitter. Fastball away.
Into right field, and it probably will tie the game. Olson tags. The throw by Mack, and it's a tie game. 2-2. And 2 out. Lead off double by Olson. The ground ball by Lemke. And then the sacrifice fly, and we have a 2-2 game.
Belliard does not have a lot of power the other way. You can see Shane Mack was playing him inside or in right field. And Olson, who is not a fast runner, was ready to bowl over Brian Harper. He got nailed last night. A little payback, it looked like, Greg Olson.
Now Lonnie Smith hits one to Shane Mack. 1 run, 1 hit. We're going into the bottom of the 5th, and we are deadlocked at 2.
Last night in the 5th inning with Dan Gladden running, he jumps into the left leg of Greg Olson, turning him over. And now tonight, in the 5th inning. This is what Greg Olson tried to do were Brian Harper in the line, and you could see him lower that shoulder, and had Harper been in the line, he was going to nail him.
This is Herbeck leading off in the Twins' 5th of a 2-2 game. He walked his first time. Doubled and hit a home run last night. Half swing. Ball 2. Glavine has set down 8 in a row. He has struck out 3 in this game and walked 3. Herbeck hits it right at Justice. 9 in a row.
Slider to Ken Herbeck that goes away. He hits it well, but David Justice back a couple of steps. And it's pretty clear that Tommy Glavine has really settled down since that first inning, Jack.
Right, he walked 2 in the first inning, walked the leadoff man in the second. Now Scott Leas is the batter. Leas hit into a double play, started by the pitcher. He's 1 for 3 in the series. Ball 2. Maybe he's had too much rest. The ball really running. He hasn't pitched since last Monday. For the center fielder Gant to figure out. 2 out and 10 in a row.
The shortstop, Frank Gagne.
This is the view that a center fielder has on a ball that's hit up in that white roof. You really have to keep your eye on it. If you take your eye off and then look back up there, it looks like about 100 balls. And the problem for an outfielder is you have to pick the right one.
You see some white, wide eyes on these fielders. The batter is Greg Gagne. Grounded to short his first time. He's 1 for 4. Look out, folks. That's strike 2. Two out and nothing shaking for the Twins. Or for their crowd at this moment. Ten in a row by Glavine. Still 1 and 2. That's 11 in a row by Glavine. That's his 4th strikeout. We'll return to the Hubert H. Humphrey Metrodome after this message and a word from your local station. At the Metrodome, Game 2 of the '91 World Series. And there's our line score. In the first inning for Minnesota, a 2-run homer by Chili Davis with 2 out. And a sacrifice fly by Hunter in the second inning, and a sacrifice fly by Belliard in the 5th. And as you saw, 4 hits for Atlanta, only 1 for the Twins. And Pendleton leads it off for the visiting Braves. He is 0 for 2 and 0 for 6. Perry struck out in the first, flied out in the 3rd inning. He is really pulling off the ball, and it's 1 ball, 1 strike. Pendleton, Gant, and Justice here in the Atlanta 6th inning. Base hit for Atlanta.
Let's look at the two key plays of this game. After Kirby Puckett grounded into a double play in the first inning, Chili Davis bombs one off Tommy Glavine. With the score 2-1 in the third inning, this was the third out, and it was the decision of Drew Coble, the first base umpire, that Hrbek did not pull Gant off the bag. Ron Gant, and Gant's up now.
And it's a foul past third, strike one.
Gant had singled. He had rounded first. The play was on at third base. Lonnie Smith went into third, and then the throw behind Gant, and Gant went back in, and it appeared that Hrbek pulled him off the bag, but umpire Drew Coble called the Gant out.
Gant has a single, 1 for 2, and he's had 4 hits in the series. One ball, 1 strike. It's the third time in 6 innings Atlanta's had their leadoff man on base. Harry Pendleton is not running well. He has an injured foot. When he's healthy, he can steal a base. Tapani has walked none, fanned a couple, allowed 5 hits. 1 and 2.
Ryan Harper looking over at Tom Kelly, and he wet his fingers right before that pitch, and that obviously in anticipation of Pendleton running at first base.
Gant's right on top of that plate. They tried to jam him. They did, and he pulled it foul. There's Commissioner Fay Vincent. Runner at first and nobody out. There's a story on the Associated Press wire that the commissioner is thinking of shortening the season. Wonder how he can pull that one off. He also doesn't care for the DH. He can't get that scratched either. Gant hits it foul again. Stays 1 and 2.
Pretty good angle right there to see Gant, who is awfully quick inside, pull the ball foul. Hey, if you come inside to Ron Gant, you can't come inside on the plate. You've got to come in off the plate if you expect to get him out in there.
Another foul. And a souvenir, a World Series ball. The World Series insignia on it.
There are a lot of things to consider. You mentioned the designated hitter, and the commissioner's against that. He certainly is. But what if a team like the Twins has signed a designated hitter like Chili Davis to a 3-year contract? It'd be tough. You do away with the designated hitter rule, and here a team has already signed a guy as a free agent to a 3-year contract. So many people think that you'd have to grandfather that clause out of there. Plus, you need the acceptance of the Players Association. That's another stumbling block.
Oh, yeah. Runner at first, nobody out, and Gant pops it into short center, and Puckett's right there. 1 out. Made him hit that ball with 1 hand.
When a pitcher gets a hitter to hit the ball on his terms. Slider off the plate. Ron Gant is rear end out, and as Jack said, the one-handed swing. And an easy play for Puckett.
1 on, 1 out. David Justice singled and scored in the second inning, and then lined out to left his next time. Rally cap time in the Atlanta dugout. And that's called the shark when they fold their hats like that. They're going for the kill. Well, not yet they're not. It's 2-2 here in the sixth.
Well, they lost a fin to 2 last night, so they're trying for that again tonight. Hoping they'll...
A fin to 2?
A fin to 2.
Justice was jammed, and the play goes to second for the second out, and a good play by the shortstop. And Pendleton went after the shortstop. Gagne 2 out. There are 2 gone.
We talked about the prowess of Ken Hrbek at first base. Look how far he ranges to his right to make this play and then throw, and a nice play by Gagne. Good play, Hrbek getting the lead runner.
Pendleton wanted to make sure there'd be no relay to first base. Now it's up to Sid Bream here in the Braves' sixth. Sid Bream doubled in the second, helped Atlanta score a run. Flied out to left, and Gladden made a good play. Tie-breaking run at first, 2 out. And ball 1. It's fun to watch an accomplished pitcher work. This Tapani really has an idea. Makes maximum use of his pitches. A little bit of everything. Ball 2. Bream hits the ball to all fields. They give him left center, and he can hit the ball out there. There you see the gap between Gladden and Puckett. Back deep and right. On the corner. Well, Atlanta hasn't done much running. You might hear. Two and 2. The second baseman, Knobloch, is playing about 10 steps into the outfield with a slow-footed Sid Bream at the plate.
That's either deep second or short right.
2 and 2. Three and 2. Now the runner David Justice will go, and Hrbek drops behind Justice at first base with 2 out. Justice on the move, and another foul. We're in the sixth, and we're tied 2-2. And has left 2 runners, and they lost another on the bases.
With a runner running 3-2 and 2 outs, your outfield takes about 2 or 3 steps back. You play a little bit deeper because you're trying to ward off the extra base hit.
Justice going, and 1 to Knobloch in short right. Out at first, and Atlanta is left 3. Bottom of the 6th. We're tied at 2. The Twins have only 1 hit. The first inning 2-run homer by Chili Davis. Atlanta 5 hits, and we're tied, and it's the top of the order for the home team. Dan Gladden leading off. He reached on an error. He struck out, and at this point, the Atlanta pitcher, Tommy Glavine, has retired 11 in a row. Struck out 4, walked 3. Strike 1. Gladden likes to bunt the ball. He's a good runner. And Pendleton is playing about even with the base at third. The left-hander has kept this Minnesota crowd quiet till now, since the first. Out of play, 1-2.
Dan Gladden with a very strange year this year. He was 1 for 32 to start the season, and then he hit 189 over his last 40 games. And in between that time, he accordioned a 301 average.
Up the middle, and Lemke. Close play. Got him! What a wonderful play. Quick release for the first out here in the sixth.
You look at a play like this, and you wonder if the ball touched the glove. As quick a hands going the other way as you'll ever see. Boy, that is a fine, fine play by Mark Lemke to just get Gladden at first base. Man, was that quick.
And a good call by Coble, the umpire at first. There is one out. 12 in a row retired. Knobloch takes a strike while showing the bunt. He walked and scored in the first. He was aboard when Chili Davis hit the home run.
It'd be easy to understand, Jack, if Lemke were going to his left and release the ball quickly with a shorter throw. But to release it that quickly and get something on it, that was a superb play.
It really was, to get the leadoff man in the sixth. Knobloch has walked and grounded out, 3 for 4. Pendleton. 2 out. 13 in a row.
We could look at a play like this all night. Terrific play by Lemke. Ball barely touched the glove, and he released it with something on it. Going to his right. Fine play.
There are 2 gone. Well, Kirby Puckett is 0 for 6 in the series. And if Belliard does his job, he's 0 for 7. We have played 6, and we're tied 2 apiece.
Good ball game here at the Metrodome. Braves and Twins all tied 2-2 on down in the commissioner's box with Fay Vincent, who is actively talking to owners about reducing the 162-game season. Why?
Well, because we're worried about the cold weather at the end of October. Bud Selig and I were talking last night. If we'd been in Milwaukee last night, it would have been 40 degrees. I don't know that it's doable because it costs revenue, but we have to look at the length of the season. It's a very frightening prospect.
I got to think they'd fight you on the loss of revenue, and if you went to double headers, they'd fight you. The Players Association would fight you on the games.
Well, I don't know about that. I think it's something we should talk about, and we'll try to do the right thing.
What? How about your daughter? How's Ann?
Well, she's fine, thank you. She's a little embarrassed, but she really feels fine. She went home today and goes to work tomorrow.
Once again, on this shortening the season, is this doable, do you think, or could you give us a number on it?
I don't know. It's something we're talking about, and I would say it's a long shot, but it's something that I think we'll have to think about.
And the purists would go after you, too.
Why? I think the shorter season, getting the season over in better weather, the purists would like to have better weather to play in.
More asterisks, new records?
No, we wouldn't limit the number of games. It might still have the same number of games. It's just a shorter season, play some doubleheaders.
Thank you for joining us. How many hot dogs you had tonight?
Only one, and no ice cream.
By the way, Steve Palermo thought the play at first was called correctly. Back up to you guys.
And the count has gone to 2-2 on Brian Hunter leading off in the 7th inning. We're tied at 2 apiece. And there's Steve Palermo. He threw out the first pitch last night. His wife is to his right. And a strikeout for Kevin Tapani. His third. And he gets rid of a big threat there, and Brian Hunter. Hunter 0 for 6 now with the sacrifice fly tonight. Saw some good pitching last night by Jack Morris and the bullpen, particularly Aguilera. And good pitching this evening from Tommy Glavine and Tapani. Olson doubled and scored in the 5th. 1 for 2. 2 for 5. To Gagne. And 2 out.
The regular season, for those of you who do or do not know, used to be 154 games before 1961 in the American League, 62 in the National League. It was increased to 162 games for both leagues back in 1962 when Houston and the New York Mets expanded to the National League. So I guess what Fay Vincent was talking about, maybe going back to the old days.
Here is Lemke stroking it to left, and that was a quick inning for Kevin Tapani. 7th inning stretch night. We've got a good one going here, and we're tied at 2.
Tommy Glavine has been mowing the Minnesota hitters down with the circle change. Look at the grip. The thumb and the forefinger make a circle. It comes out, it's the two-seam grip. The two-seam grip gives the pitcher just a little bit of movement. Timmy and I talked last night about 2 seams for movement, 4 seams for follow through the ball. And Glavine gets movement with that 2-seam circle change. Very unusual.
Okay, Jim, and he has retired 14 in a row as he deals with Chili Davis, who has the only Minnesota hit. The first inning, 2-run homer with 2 out. His first hit in the series. There'll be a little laundry to be done tomorrow. Davis, Harper, and Mack in the Twins' 7th.
Think about the wisdom when Andy MacPhail, the general manager of the Twins, signed Chili Davis. He's a switch hitter, and he's a power hitter. You don't have to pinch hit for him. It's almost like 2 for the price of 1 when you sign a guy like Chili Davis as a free agent.
And he called here and wanted to play here for Minnesota. 2-1. Two balls and a strike. To Pendleton. Fair ball. Low, and Bream helped him out. That's 15 in a row.
You have 2 first basemen here tonight, Ken Herbeck and Sid Bream, who help their infielders out all the time. This high chopper, an easy play for Pendleton. It was not a strong throw, but look at the pick by Bream. Good play.
First out in the bottom of the 7th brings up Brian Harper. Glavine gets ahead. Harper has walked and grounded to 3rd, and we talked about this fellow last night. He seldom walks. He seldom strikes out.
And he rarely swings through too many pitches. Only 14 walks this year, 22 strikeouts. Brian Harper, one of the toughest to walk in the American League. Matter of fact, 4th. That is actually his career. Minimum 1,000 plate appearances.
He's in the hole on 2. Two good hurlers hooked up in this one. Tapani and Glavine. Harper gets ahead with 1 out. Only the 2nd hit for Minnesota.
That's right. The only other one, the 2-run homer by Chili Davis. That was way back in the 1st inning. Off the end of the bat. There's that circle change Jim Cott was talking about. And Harper dunks one into shallow center.
Well, Glavine had him sent up, but lost him. 1 on, 1 out for Shane Mack. 0 for 2. After the All-Star break, he chewed up the left-handed pitcher. Ball one. Atlanta's pulled off 2 double plays this inning. One in the first, one in the second. Harper is not a fast runner, but he draws the throw. Ordinarily, infielders in a double play situation will move in a step or two. But here on the AstroTurf, and particularly on this turf, they can play back at normal depth with 1 on, 1 out.
Glavine doesn't have a good move to first base. It's a very deliberate move and easily picked up by the base runner. If Harper does run, it'll be part of the hit and run play.
Big swing by Mack, 1-1. Shane Mack, a dangerous hitter with 18 home runs this year.
Only 4 here at the Metrodome, however.
Glavine in pretty good shape with regard to the number of pitches he has thrown. 7th inning. One ball, 2 strikes.
Glavine getting Mack out front. Again with that changeup right there, and Mack swinging over it.
It stays 1-2 with Harper at first and 1 out. We're live at the Metrodome, where last night Minnesota won Game 1 5-2, and we're tied 2-2. Bottom of the 7th, 1 on, 1 out. Glavine pitching to Shane Mack. That is the 5th strikeout for Tommy Glavine. And Mack is 0 for 3, and there are 2 out.
And that was a great at-bat of how a pitcher gets ahead and expands the strike zone. The plate's 17 inches wide, and that ball about 6 inches outside. If they won't swing at strikes, why throw them strikes?
The appearance of Kent Hrbek at the plate brings the crowd to life. He has walked and lined out to right. Light hitting affair. 5 for the Braves, only 2 for the Twins. Chili Davis hit the 2-run homer in the first. Sacrifice fly by Hunter in the second. Sacrifice fly by Belliard in the 5th.
Sid Bream was holding the runner at first base, Brian Harper, on with the right-handed hitter up there, but now with the left-handed pull hitter, he's moved behind Harper.
0-2. Held up 1-2. And the middle infielders are playing in the outfield. Belliard and Lemke. They have a force out at second and a slow-footed batter. He got Hrbek. 6 strikeouts for Tommy Glavine. 1 hit and 1 left for the Twins. They've left 2. We played 7. 2-2 game. Belliard Belliard leads it off. 0 for 1 with that sacrifice fly. Kevin Tampany has given 5 hits. Ball. He has struck out 3 and walked nobody. Glavine with a fine game tonight. And Greg Olson. Belliard, Lonnie Smith, and Pendleton. Sid Green. Out of play. 1-2.
Hey, it's a 2-2 ball game, and the key play in this game, Ron Gant retreating to first base after a wide turn in the 3rd inning. Lonnie Smith was on at 3rd at the time. And the question is, did Ken Herbeck?
This is a base hit for Belliard. A bunt single to start the 8th. With a count 1-2, a bunt single by Belliard.
Boy, did that take everybody by surprise. Scott Leas, who had been playing up, moved back, as you see, and Belliard, a little more deliberate than he would normally be. He realizes that the bunt doesn't have to be as good, and what a blueprint that was. But the question about Drew Coble, the first base umpire, and Ken Herbeck, did Herbeck pull Ron Gant off the bag? That's a key play in this game thus far.
Now let's see if Lonnie Smith is bunting. He is, and he did it well. Second baseman takes the throw. Sacrifice good. 3-4. And now either Pendleton or Gant is asked to get the big Atlanta hit.
Well, you saw a perfect bunt by Rafael Belliard, and now another perfect bunt. A sacrifice. Herbeck to Knobloch.
Belliard carrying the leading run here in the 8th. Pendleton 1 for 3 in this game, 1 for 7 in the series. And in postseason, 1 for 8 with runners in scoring position. There's a strike. They go to work in the left field corner. Steve Bedrosian, the right-hander. And the left-hander is Mark Guthrie, who appeared last night. Ordinarily, there's no one the Braves would rather have up there than Pendleton. Out of play, and that's strike 2. Tampany not backing off, is he? He's not trying to pitch around it with the first base open either.
Well, you have Gant on deck, but you have David Justice in the hole. Sometimes you just have to determine whether to challenge a hitter or not. There you see Ron Gant on deck.
There's David Justice, who will bat after Gant. 1-2 to Pendleton. The National League's leading hitter during the regular season and a strong candidate for MVP. Apparently between Pendleton and Barry Bonds. One and 2. Belliard at second, 1 out, 2-2 in the 8th. From Atlanta fans and the Minnesota manager. He has another 2 years on his contract. He had to fight that one off to stay up there.
That looked like the split finger fastball, but we were told that Tampany only throws that pitch to right-handed batters. It's obviously not supposed to be in that spot. May have been a slider, and it just got away from him. And Pendleton stays alive. Close at first. He is safe.
first and third with one out. Always said Pendleton had a bad foot, but he certainly hustled down the line.
Now this is a bad slide for a bad foot. I am of the opinion that you get there faster if you don't slide. But Terry Pendleton into the bag, just beating the play. And if his foot was injured before, think of what it's going to be like after that. Good call by Drew Coble. Tell you, the picture shows that play a little, but Pendleton clearly safe. Here it is again. Got lodged under the base, and that's what flipped him. Appears to be all right.
Infielders back at second and short, looking for a double play ball off the bat of Gant, who is 4 out of 7 in the series. And missed outside. Can the Braves snap this 2-2 tie in the 8th?
It's an interesting infield alignment here in the 8th inning of a tie ball game. Only one out. Infield and double play depth.
And Gant can run. That's ball 2.
I guess what Tom Kelly is weighing here is the power of Gant opposed to the speed of Gant. He's such a strong hitter. He hits the ball so hard that by putting the infield back, the chances of him hitting into a double play are great because of his strength with the bat. You weigh that against the speed of the runner, and that's why the infield's back.
2-0. And 2-1. First and third, one out.
Right off the left foot of Brian Harper.
During the regular season, Gant grounded into only 6 double plays out of 131 double play situations. Pops it up, foul, and there is a play. Pendleton tags, goes halfway to second, and the runner has to stay at third, 2 out.
Big pitch for Kevin Tapani. A ball right down the pipe. And watch Harper. He runs the ball back to the infield because Pendleton had tagged it at first base, and he went halfway. And by running it back, you prevent the runner at third from trying to score.
There's a big put out for the Twins as they get Gant. Harper and Tapani talk it over with David Justice coming up.
There's Pendleton at first base, Belliard at third base, and right to the right of your screen is Brian Harper. And that's why he was running the ball back. Belliard had tagged at first, Pendleton had tagged at third, Pendleton had tagged at first base, and Harper running that ball back into the infield, preventing the runners from advancing.
I wonder if Harper would have thrown it to second had Pendleton continued to run.
That's why he ran it back. You don't have that problem.
Justice with 2 on, 2 out, strike 1. Boy, this Tapani is showing us something. With 2 men out, Belliard at third. And at first base, Terry Pendleton. Batter is David Justice, 1 for 3. One ball, 1 strike. We are 2-2 in the top of the 8th. The perfect setup for Atlanta with Gant up there. Looked like that pitch right down the middle of the plate, Tim.
Yep, it did.
2 balls and a strike. Bobby Cox saw that scoring chance diminish. He's counting on the youngster. There's Gant. He didn't do it. 2-2.
Circle change from Kevin Tapani. Justice looking fastball. That evens the count.
This is the most noise from this crowd all night. Two on, 2 out, 2-2. 3-2. And the runner will leave from first. That's Pendleton. Into left for Gladden. He's right there. Innings over. What a chance the Braves had, and they let it get away. They've left 5, and we're still tied in the bottom of the 8th.
You are watching the World Series on CBS.
When a pitcher or when a hitter pulls off a ball, it's better to pitch him away. Watch the front shoulder of Justice leave and the pitch go away. Off the end of the bat, and Gladden retires David Justice, who is obviously frustrated.
And Tapani gave it the clenched fist. He pitched out of a tough jam, and I'll bet Tommy Glavine thought he'd go to the mound in the bottom of this 8th inning with a lead, but not so. We're tied 2-2. And the batter is Scott Leyes. And he corks one into left field. Back at the track is Hunter, and it's gone! Here's Gagne off the foot of Glavine. He might try it for 2. He comes back with a long single. 2 pitches, 2 hits. Minnesota leading 3-2. That was only their 4th hit of the night.
You remember the top of the ball game, Jack and I were talking about how a little guy always seems to rise to the occasion in big postseason games. Scott Leyes, his first home run in postseason, he'll remember it forever. Not only that, his first hit in postseason. Actually, Leas did get a hit last night. But what a big home run for Scott Leas.
Timing is everything. Gets it here in the 8th. Minnesota had made 3 runs on 3 hits. A walk and a home run by Chili Davis in the first, then the Leas home run. Now the 4th hit. Mike Gagne has Pena and Stanton warm up in the bullpen. Leo Mazzoni paid a trip to the mound. There's nobody out. And Gladden is the batter, and he might be bunted. Ball 1. Gladden 0 for 3. You remember that Tom Glavine lost a 1-0 game in the playoff against the Pirates. Was the loser in the first game. It was a 5-1 game, so his teammates haven't done much for him. Ball 2. In the Minnesota bullpen, Rick Aguilera, who worked last night. We asked Tom Kelly, could he come back again tonight? He said, oh yeah. Top of this inning with a big one, wasn't it? And the home run by Leas. They switch off and Gladden pops it up. Center fielder Gant has it.
Sometimes when a team gets out of a tough situation, as the Twins did in the top of the 8th inning, surviving Gant and Justice with runners at first and third, that gives them momentum into the next inning. And sure enough, the Twins have capitalized. The home run by Leas giving them the lead here in the bottom of the 8th.
He had only 1 in a few at-bats last year, had 5 this year for the Twins. His home run record in the minor leagues was very modest. He is from Mamaroneck, New York, Mamaroneck High School. Now Knobloch, 0 for 2 with a walk. 1 on, 1 out. Twins 3 outs away from assuming a 2-game-to-0 lead over the Braves. And we'll be playing in Atlanta Tuesday night. A strange move by Tommy Glavine with a delivery. Bobby Cox saw his chance slip away in the top of the 8th inning. First and third, 1 out. Hand up. Justice to follow. Nothing doing. Ball 1 to Knobloch. Three to 2 Twins.
2 of the 3 Knobloch hits last night were to right field. So we'll see if Tom Kelly sends the runner. Kelly telling us that he will hit and run with everybody in the lineup but Ken Hrbek.
They call a balk. That's what I talked about on the previous throw over there.
Tommy Glavine shaking his head as though he agrees with Drew Coble. It appeared to be on the high kick. Did his right leg go behind? Yep, it did. The right heel went behind the left leg. And when that happens, you're committed to go to home. Glavine goes to first, and it was clearly a balk, and it looked like Glavine was agreeing with Drew Coble.
Let's go down to Jim Cott. What'd you see down there, Jim?
Well, the ruling by the umpire, if that knee goes behind that front leg, it's okay. The foot has to, and as Timmy mentioned, the right heel, get another look at it from this angle. Watch the right foot, the right heel, right there, and that's, I think, what Drew Coble saw. And, of course, every left-hander tries to get as close to that line, that balk line, as they possibly can and get by with it.
I guess with that shot, you could say it was from the right ankle.
Well, the Twins failed to advance the runner, so Glavine did it. Runner at second, one out. And a strike to the strong candidate for Rookie of the Year, Chuck Knobloch. There's one out in the inning. Knobloch is like Willie McGee with the peak of that helmet pulled way, way down. To the second baseman. Runner to third. 2 out. 0 for 3 tonight for Knobloch. And now these Twins fans want something from the next batter with Gagne at third, 2 out. And it's Puckett. Puckett is 0 for 7 in the series. One and one to Puckett. These Atlanta Braves had to chase the Dodgers all season long. Finally beat them by 1 game. Had to go to the 7th game to defeat the Pirates. And they're digging a hole for themselves tonight. 1 ball, 2 strikes. These Braves played very well at home and will play there Tuesday, Wednesday, and maybe Thursday, but they've already learned they're up against a tough opponent.
They also played very well on the road. They did it winning those 6 road games the last 9 days of the season, and they won the last 2 in the NLCS on the road.
2-2. The next 2 Atlanta pitchers will be Avery and Smoltz. They're each 2-0 in postseason. And Tuesday night, it's going to be Scott Erickson against Avery. I think Glavine got away with a pitch that time. 2-2. 8 o'clock Eastern time for Game 3. That's Tuesday night at Atlanta's Fulton County Stadium. Scott Erickson, right-hander. Steve Avery, the lefty. Boy, he's something to watch. Don't miss it. So is Erickson. 20-game winner. Belliard makes a magnificent play to keep it a 1-run game. 1 run on 2 hits, 1 left. The Twins have left 3. Scott Leyes, will he be the hero in the end?
You know, Tommy Glavine has made a bushel full of good pitches, primarily with that good circle change. Probably like to have 2 of them back. The flat slider to Chili Davis early on, and this one looked like he tried to sneak a fastball past Scott Leyes, who went out of his hand at 91, which is very high for Tommy Glavine. But as most guns will tell you, by the time it reached home plate, his fastball is about 85 miles an hour. Olson wanted it outside, but he put it in that joy zone for a right-hand hitter on the inner part of the plate. One of the 2 bad pitches he's made all night.
And it only got out of the park by about 3 rows over that plexiglass. And the Twins bring in Rick Aguilera, led the American League with 42 saves. And he pitched an inning and a third last night and saved it for Jack Morris. Sid Bream will lead it off. He's had a double, 1 for 3, and Atlanta needs a run or they'll be down by 2 games. they've had their chances. They left 7 last night. And in the top of the 8th, had first and third and 1 out and failed to score. They need a runner, they need a run, and a foul. Three-two Twins in the 9th. Bream, Hunter, and Olsen. Tonight, Atlanta is left 5. Corner, strike 2. Aguilera got the save last night, but said after the game that he was not pleased with the way he pitched. So it's the New York Met connection here tonight, Tapani and Aguilera.
1-2. When Rick Aguilera was with the New York Mets, he didn't have that split finger fastball until his last year and a half with them. He was running around a high school track. He saw a softball lying off the track. He picked it up and tried to stretch his fingers, and he continues to carry a softball in his car for that purpose, so he can throw that pitch.
He gets Bream. He gets Bream for the first down in the 9th.
There's the split finger right there. And there's the result.
Takes care of the leadoff hitter. We should give you Tapani's final figures. 8 innings, 2 runs, 7 hits, struck out 3, and walked none. Hunter a foul. This copyrighted telecast is presented by authority of Major League Baseball. It may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form without the express written consent of Major League Baseball. Braves down to their last 2 outs, trailing 3-2 here in the 9th. Lost last night 5-2, 1 out. And 1. This crowd of 55,000 has stayed around because of the tightness of this one, a 1-run game. 3 runs on 4 hits for Minnesota. Two balls and a strike. Hunter 0 for 2 with a sacrifice fly in, 0 for 6 in the World Series. Sid Bream and Tommy Glavine. You know what Hunter was trying to do? Over on Gant.
Fastball out of the strike zone. Fingers closer together on that pitch.
Out of play, still 2-2. We're in Minneapolis and at the Metrodome. Game 2 of the '91 World Series, where the Twins won last night 5-2. There's our line score. 1 out, nobody on base in the 9th. And a 2-2 count on Brian Hunter. Pop fly to center, and Puckett has to play it for a base hit. That is the 8th hit for Atlanta. The tying run's on. There's John Smoltz. He'll be pitching on Wednesday.
First hit for Brian Hunter in this series. And the reason that Kirby Puckett couldn't catch up to it is that he was playing deep. You see the slider on the outside part, and Hunter one-hands it. Kirby Puckett playing deep, and deep for a reason, trying to prevent an extra base hit. Aguilera in the foreground. How was that shot?
Really arching his back, trying to have the ball hang up a while longer. Greg Olson, the batter. Strike to him. Olson has a double and a run scored. 2 for 6 in the series. There's Tommy Gregg waiting on deck. 1 on, 1 out for Atlanta. Not over yet. Hunter stole no bases this year. Two.
Again with a fastball inside. Could have been the inside corner. Olson swings through it.
Olson had 6 home runs during the season and 1 against Pittsburgh. Bobby Cox needs some more offense. 1-2.
It's interesting to note Scott Leyes off the line. Tom Kelly's trying to win it with the double play ball. He's not trying to prevent the extra base hit.
2-2. Run at first. That's Hunter. 1 out. 2-2 to Greg Olson.
Splitter for strike 3.
Sometimes those hitters just wait for that splitter to fall out of the strike zone, and it doesn't do it.
Didn't then.
That's the 2nd out in the 9th. And Tommy Gregg bats for Lemke. Aguilera ahead of everybody. Struck out Breen. Got ahead of Hunter. Lost him. Struck out Olson. That's strike 2. This crowd is a fun crowd. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Tying run at first, 2 out, 9th inning. 3-2 Twins leading in the 9th, trying to make it 2-0 over Atlanta. Aguilera struck out the side. The Twins have gone up 2-0 over Atlanta. Tuesday night will be in Atlanta, and the young guns, Avery and Smoltz, will be poised to try to stop Minnesota They scored 3 runs on 4 hits. Scott Erickson will oppose Steve Avery Tuesday night. The Twins fans enjoyed this evening as the bubble burst for Atlanta. We'll find out starting Tuesday, travel day tomorrow. The Twins have pleased their hometown fans.
And in this ballpark, the pitch went up when the pitch went in.
Aguilera struck out the side, and he saved it for Tapani. Pat O'Brien will have some great words and pictures when we come back.
So the Minnesota Twins sent out their best second-half pitcher, Kevin Tapani, and he wins the game for him 3-2. And so it is that the Chevrolet player of the game is Kevin Tapani of the Twins. Chevrolet will donate $1,000 on his behalf to the Special Olympics, and Minnesota is now up 2-0 in this series. The 2 other men of the hour are standing by with Jim Cott. Kitty?
All right, Pat, what a game. I mean, Tommy Glavine made so many good pitches, probably 2 he'd like to have back. One was a pitch to Chili Davis. And Scott Leyes, the pitch you got in the bottom of the 8th inning, and maybe Glavine thought you were going to take that pitch.
Yeah, I was just looking to get on base and draw a walk, get a hit, whatever. I was just trying to have a good at-bat. And he laid it in there, and I was fortunate enough to get the head out and hit it pretty good.
Yeah, when you say you hit it pretty good, describe those feelings as soon as that ball hit the bat.
Well, I knew I hit it good enough to get out. I didn't know if it was out, though, so I wanted to be on second, so Gags could drive me in. But once it went over the fence, it was a good feeling, really good.
All right, that was the game-winning home run, and then they had to have somebody to come in and lock it up, and as usual, that's Rick Aguilera 2 nights in a row, and it looked like you were a little more comfortable and in control of things tonight.
Kitty, I was a lot more relaxed out there, not trying to throw the ball 1,000 miles an hour, just trying to concentrate on making better pitches, and my control is much sharper tonight.
Going back to the days when you first came to Minnesota in the trade, when there was some question that you might even be a starter, this has got to be about as good a feeling as you can have.
Well, it's a great thrill. It's just a matter of circumstances. A couple people left, and they needed somebody to take over the role, and I'm just very fortunate after a good start last year and build some confidence, and it's just a very exciting role to have. I'm just thrilled to have it.
What a great ball game. Glavine and Tapani, Leyes and Aguilera, all heroes. Let's go back to Pat O'Brien.